Park rangers are trained to ignore certain sounds in the forest, especially when those sounds don't match anything that should be there. Across the U.S., there are trails that don't show up on official maps anymore. Some were shut down after accidents. Others were closed without explanation. What's strange is how often the details don't quite line up. Reports go missing. Witnesses change their stories. And in a few cases, rangers themselves refuse to talk about what happened. These are 7 trails that were quietly closed, and the incidents that led up to it. In the late 1990s, a short hiking loop in a mountainous park was popular with day hikers. It wasn't dangerous. Clear markings, steady terrain, nothing unusual. A ranger doing a routine patrol one afternoon reported something small. He said the forest went silent. Not gradually. Instantly. No birds, no insects, no wind. That alone wasn't enough to file a report. But then his radio picked up static. Not unusual either, except the static had a pattern. Almost like it was breaking into short bursts. He thought it was interference. Then he noticed footprints off the trail. They looked fresh. Barefoot. But the spacing was wrong, like each step was slightly too far apart. He followed them for about 20 yards before they just stopped. No turn. No drag marks. No sign of where the person went. That section of the trail was closed within a month. No official reason was ever given. This trail ran through dense forest and was known for how quiet it could get. Some hikers liked it for that reason. In 2004, a couple hiking together reported hearing someone walking behind them. Not close, but consistent. They stepped off the trail to let the person pass. No one did. They waited. The footsteps stopped too. When they started walking again, the footsteps came back. Same pace. Same distance. They turned around multiple times. Nothing. Eventually, they reached a clearing. The sound stopped completely. But what they noticed next didn't make sense. There were footprints in the dirt, behind them. But only one set. The trail was closed shortly after their report. Rangers later said it was due to erosion issues. But that section had no history of erosion. This was a short offshoot trail leading to a small creek. It wasn't heavily used, mostly locals. A ranger responded to a call about someone screaming near the water late one evening. By the time he arrived, it was quiet. Too quiet. He walked down to the creek and noticed something odd. The water was moving, but there was no sound. No trickling. No splash. Just movement. He tested his radio. Static. Then, from somewhere deeper in the trees, he heard his own voice. Calling out. Exactly the same tone he had used minutes earlier. He backed out immediately. The next day, the trail was blocked off with temporary fencing. Within weeks, it was permanently closed. This trail had a reputation even before it was shut down. People described it as off. Not dangerous. Just
Wait, do these trees look
uncomfortable.
off to you?
What do you mean?
In
They look fine to me.
2011, a group
Yeah,
of
something
3
feels wrong here.
hikers reported
Look at the
something
spacing.
unusual during
not
an
natural.
early morning hike. They said the trees looked wrong. At first, it sounded vague. But when pressed, they explained that the trees didn't match the map layout. Certain landmarks were missing. Others appeared where they shouldn't be. They assumed they had taken a wrong turn. But their GPS showed they were still on the marked path. Then one of them noticed something more specific. Every few minutes, they would pass the same fallen tree. Same shape. Same
Wait,
break
this
in the
doesn't look
trunk.
right.
Where's the
They
fallen tree?
turned
We just
around to
passed it.
confirm.
A light is different too.
The
This can't be
trail
same
behind
path.
them looked
Let's turn back
different.
before we get lost.
That report led to a temporary closure. But after 2 more similar accounts, the trail was shut down permanently. No public explanation. But one report changed how rangers patrol certain trails, and it didn't come from a hiker. A solo ranger was assigned to check the northern edge of a large park. It was routine. The trail itself was long but uneventful. About halfway through his patrol, he noticed something strange. Trail markers were missing. Not all of them. Just enough to make navigation slightly confusing. He marked the locations to report later. Then he saw a figure ahead, standing just off the trail. He called out. No response. As he got closer, he realized something wasn't right. The figure looked like another ranger. Same uniform. Same gear. But it wasn't moving. He stopped. The figure turned, slowly, and walked into the trees. The ranger followed for a few steps, then stopped when his radio came alive. Dispatch was calling him, asking why he had just reported being lost. He hadn't. That trail was closed within the year. This trail was known for its acoustics. Sounds carried farther than usual. In 2017, multiple hikers reported hearing conversations, when no one else was around. At first, it was dismissed as sound traveling from distant groups. But one report stood out. A hiker said he heard 2 people arguing nearby. He couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear. He followed the sound for several minutes. It stayed just out of sight. Then, suddenly, it stopped. He turned back toward the trail, and heard the same argument again. But this time, it was behind him. He left immediately. Later, when rangers reviewed his report, they noticed something. The time he claimed to hear the voices matched a separate incident from years earlier. Same location. Same description. That trail is no longer accessible. This trail was never meant for the public. It led to an old, abandoned ranger cabin deep in the park. Officially, it was
Stay alert.
restricted,
Fog's thickening.
but some
See that cabin?
hikers
Looks
still
abandoned.
found their way in.
That's our destination. Let's check
In
it.
2020,
The air
a
feels
maintenance
heavy.
crew
Keep moving,
was
we're
sent to
almost there.
check the condition of the cabin.
Cabin's just ahead.
3
Slow down.
people,
Approach with caution.
It's so
They were
quiet, unnaturally
experienced.
still.
Stay sharp, everyone.
familiar
Radio
with
check.
the area. They
This is
reported
it.
back
A lost
once,
cabin. Doesn't look like
said
anyone's been
everything
here.
looked normal.
Door looks intact.
Then
I'm opening it.
communication
Stay alert.
stopped. A search team was sent in the next morning. They found the cabin empty. No signs of struggle. But something inside stood out. All 3 radios were sitting on the table, powered on. One of them was still transmitting, recording. What they heard wasn't clear at first. Just breathing. Then
Cabin's just ahead.
footsteps.
Stay sharp.
Slow,
Roger. Visibility is dropping fast.
deliberate,
Something feels off about this place.
moving around the cabin.
Let's get inside. We'll secure it.
But the team reviewing the audio noticed something else. There were more footsteps than there should have been. The trail leading to that cabin was sealed off completely. No markers. No access points. Officially, it no longer exists. Some trails close because of landslides. Others because of wildlife. Those reasons make sense. But there are places where the explanations don't quite fit. Where reports sound too similar. Too consistent. Rangers don't always talk about these cases. Not publicly. But every now and then, something slips through. A detail. A report. A recording. And once you notice the pattern, it's hard to ignore. Because according to some of the people who've worked in these parks, this still happens.